man was a sight to behold. With his piercing green eyes, chiseled jaw, and a smile that could melt hearts, he was the kind of man people couldn't help but notice. At only 28, he had a promising career, friends who adored him, and a charm that seemed effortless. His family was proud, often boasting of his looks and achievements to anyone who would listen. But Ada harbored a secret that none of them knew. Beneath the attention and adoration, he felt a profound loneliness. People admired him for his appearance but rarely saw beyond it. He had longed for a connection that went deeper than admiration for his face. And that was when he met Kemi. Kemi was unlike anyone he had ever met. She was in her mid-40s, confident and beautiful in her own way. She wasn't slim by societal standards. She was fuller, softer, and carried herself with a grace that drew Ade in. The age difference didn't bother him, nor did her appearance. What mattered was that Kemi had a wisdom, humor, and kindness that resonated with him in ways he'd never experienced before. Quietly, they began to see each other, finding comfort in their shared time together. Yet Ade knew the world would never understand. He was aware of the judgment they would face, aware that people would see only what was on the outside. But for him, Kemi was everything he had been searching for. And so, against the odds, he decided to pursue this relationship, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The moment Ade's friends noticed him with Kemi, the whispers started. "Did you see him with her?" they'd say. "She's so much older, and she's not exactly a supermodel, is she?" Some even tried to pull him aside, warning him that he was making a mistake, that his reputation could suffer. But Ade brushed off their concerns. "You don't know her like I do," he'd reply. Kemi was the first person who made him feel genuinely understood, and he wasn't about to give her up because of others' opinions. The gossip only intensified. Kemi could feel the eyes of strangers on her whenever she was with Ade. At first, she tried to ignore it, but the weight of it began to wear on her. She was aware of her age, her weight, and the way society judged women like her. It hurt, but Ade's devotion kept her strong. They became each other's escape from the harsh judgments of the world. Ade would take her on long drives through the countryside, where they could laugh and talk without interruption. Kemi's laughter filled the air, and for those brief moments, everything felt right. But as the rumors grew, the two began to realize that their relationship would soon reach a breaking point. As their relationship deepened, Ade and Kemi created a world just for the two of them. Every weekend, they would escape to quiet cafes, serene parks, or Kemi's cozy apartment, shutting out the judgments waiting beyond her doors. They talked for hours, sharing stories, fears, and dreams that brought them closer than Ade had ever been with anyone. Yet Ade couldn't ignore the tension building around him. His friends had begun pulling away, their judgment veiled as concern. One evening at a small gathering, one of them confronted him. "Ade, think about your future," his friend urged. "You're handsome, young. You could have anyone." "I've already found what I want," Ada replied, feeling a surge of frustration. His friend looked at him with pity, and Ade could feel the sting of rejection. But despite the pressure, he stood his ground, his love for Kemi steadfast. When Ade's family learned about Kemi, their disapproval was swift. His mother, in particular, couldn't understand why he'd chosen her. "Why Ade? You're handsome, successful, and she's..." She struggled to find the words, but Ade could sense her disdain. "Mom, you don't see what I see," he tried to explain. "Kemi is beautiful, kind, and wise. She's everything I want in a partner. His father was more direct. This will ruin your reputation, he warned. A woman like that isn't suited for someone like you. Think of what people will say. You deserve someone who compliments you, someone more fitting. Their words hurt, but Ade didn't relent. He knew he loved Kemi, and he was ready to defend that love, even if it meant distancing himself from his family. But deep down, he worried. Would Kemi endure the strain of such opposition? Could he keep their relationship intact under the weight of others' expectations? Kemi began to feel the strain of the gossip and family resistance more than ever. She loved Ade deeply, but she questioned if she was strong enough to stand by him through the relentless judgment. One evening, as they shared a quiet dinner at her apartment, she voiced her fears. "Ade, maybe they're right," she whispered, looking down. "Maybe I'm not good enough for you. You deserve someone younger, someone people won't criticize." Ade took her hands, his eyes filled with warmth and determination. "Kemi, I chose you, not them, not anyone else. You're everything I need. Don't let their opinions ruin what we have." His words comforted her, yet doubts lingered. She wanted to believe in their love, but she couldn't shake the feeling that she was causing him more pain than happiness. She worried that in trying to love him, she might only drive him away. As gossip reached every corner of the city, Ade and Kemi realized they had two choices: hide their love or face the world together, unafraid of judgment. One weekend, they decided to go out together, not to the quiet places they usually visited, but to a crowded event in the heart of the city. Hand in hand, they walked into the room, heads turning, whispers surfacing instantly. Ade held his head high, refusing to be ashamed of the woman he loved. Kemi, inspired by his courage, did the same. They stood together, openly displaying their love, showing everyone that they would not be shamed into hiding. Some people sneered, others simply watched in silence. But for Ade and Kemi, it was a defining moment. They would not be silenced by those who couldn't see past appearances. Their love was real, and they were determined to live it fully, regardless of what anyone thought. After the event, Ada's parents called him for a serious talk. They tried to reason with him, expressing their fears about his future, his reputation, and the mistake he was making. His mother was tearful, pleading with him to reconsider, but Ade stood firm. "Mom, Dad, I know this isn't what you expected, but Kemi makes me happy. She understands me in a way no one else has. Can't you trust me to make the right decision for myself?" His parents exchanged a glance, realizing that Ade was serious. Yet they couldn't bring themselves to accept his choice. Heartbroken, Ade left the conversation feeling torn between his family's wishes and his love for Kemi. Kemi too felt the weight of his family's rejection. She loved Ade deeply, but she didn't want to be the reason he lost his family. She began to wonder if their relationship was causing more harm than good. Despite his family's disapproval, Ade was more certain than ever that he wanted to spend his life with Kemi. He began making plans for a proposal, deciding that their love deserved a commitment as strong as the bond they shared. One evening, as they sat beneath the stars, Ade held her hands and looked into her eyes. "Kemi, I want you in my life forever. Will you marry me?" Then Kemi laughed and said, "Yeah, Ada, I also love you." They laughed about their future arguments, joked about their differences, and shared their hopes and dreams for a life together. Ada, with her easy laughter, brought a lightness to Kemi's heart that she had longed for. In moments of quiet, they would sit together, dreaming of a home filled with love, laughter, and memories that were entirely their own. As the weeks passed, their bond only deepened. Kemi cherished the little things about Ada. The way he would throw his head back when he laughed. The way his eyes sparkled when he spoke about his dreams. And how he always seemed to know when she needed comfort. Ada, in turn, admired Kemi's resilience and her ability to find joy even in the most challenging times. They complemented each other beautifully, and their love felt like a powerful force against the world. However, despite the joy they found in each other, the pressures from Ada's family remained a constant shadow. His parents were not the only ones weighing heavily on his heart. His friends, too, continued to question his choices, often trying to convince him that he was making a mistake. One evening, as they sat on Kemi's balcony overlooking the city, Ada finally spoke up about his frustrations. "Kemi, I feel like I'm fighting a battle on two fronts. My heart wants you, but my head is filled with doubts from everyone around me. It's exhausting." Kemi sighed, understanding the weight of his words. "I know it's not easy, Ada, but you have to remember that we are the ones living this life. It's our love, not theirs. As long as we have each other, we can face anything." Her words gave him comfort, but deep down, Ada felt the strain of the situation. He wanted to make his family proud, but he didn't want to sacrifice his happiness in the process. Meanwhile, Kemi's insecurities bubbled to the surface more often than she'd like to admit. One night, after a long day at work, she found herself staring at her reflection, critical of the way her body filled out her dress. The societal pressures weighed heavily on her, and she feared that Ada might someday regret his choice. When she shared her feelings with him, Ada took her hands, looking deeply into her eyes. "Kemi, you are beautiful just as you are. You're strong, kind, and the most amazing woman I know. I chose you because you make me happy, not because of what you look like. Please don't let anyone else's opinion change that." Kemi smiled, but the doubt lingered. She wanted to believe him wholeheartedly, but the world around her often painted a different picture. Determined to strengthen their relationship despite the challenges, Ada decided to introduce Kemi to more of his friends, hoping that the bond they shared would shine through the noise of judgment. They planned a gathering at his favorite cafe, inviting a small group of close friends who knew and accepted him for who he was. On the day of the gathering, Ada was nervous but hopeful. Kemi, dressed in a vibrant traditional outfit, brought a warmth to the atmosphere as they entered the cafe hand in hand. Their friends greeted them with smiles, and Kemi felt a flutter of excitement and fear in her chest. As they settled in, laughter and conversation filled the air. Kemi quickly found herself engaged in discussions, and Ada watched her with pride. His heart swelled as he saw the way she connected with his friends, her laughter blending harmoniously with theirs. But amidst the joy, the shadow of doubt loomed. One friend, who had been skeptical of their relationship from the start, made a pointed comment that pierced the moment. "Ada, are you sure you want to be with someone so much older? Don't you think you could do better?" The atmosphere shifted, and Kemi felt a wave of embarrassment wash over her. She could sense the judgment in the air, and for a moment, she wished she could disappear. But Ada's hand tightened around hers, grounding her. "Kemi is everything I've ever wanted," he replied firmly, his voice steady. "I don't care about anyone's opinion. My happiness is with her." Kemi looked at him, gratitude swelling in her heart. In that moment, she realized that they were building their own family, one rooted in love and acceptance. The judgment of other faded into the background, and she felt a renewed sense of strength. As the evening wore on, Kemi found herself feeling more at ease. She laughed and shared stories, and Ada couldn't help but smile at how effortlessly she fit into his life. They left the cafe hand in hand, feeling lighter than when they had entered. But that night, as they lay under the stars on Kemi's balcony, the shadows returned. "Ada, what if this doesn't work out? What if they're right?" she whispered, fear creeping into her voice. "They won't be," Ada reassured her, pulling her close. "We are stronger than their doubts. Together we can face anything." Their hearts full of hope and determination, they vowed to keep fighting for their love, no matter what challenges lay ahead. As the months passed, Ada and Kemi's love continued to grow, but the pressures from their families only intensified. They faced whispered judgments, side glances, and the constant threat of disapproval. But through it all, they remained each other's sanctuary. One day, Ada decided it was time to face his parents once more. He wanted to show them that Kemi was not just a passing fancy, but the woman he intended to build a life with. He invited them to dinner at his favorite restaurant, feeling a mix of anticipation and dread. When his parents arrived, the tension was palpable. Ada took a deep breath and began, "Mum, Dad, I want to talk to you about Kemi. She means the world to me, and I hope you can see that." His mother's eyes narrowed, and his father crossed his arms. "Ada, you're young. You have your whole life ahead of you. Why would you tie yourself to someone like her?" "Because I love her," Ada replied, his voice firm. "Kemi is kind, funny, and she understands me like no one else. I don't care about what you think is right. I care about my happiness." His parents exchanged glances, and Ada felt a flicker of hope. Maybe they would finally understand. But his mother shook her head, tears welling in her eyes. "We just want what's best for you, son. Can't you see she's not suitable?" "Suitability doesn't matter if there's love," he argued, feeling the heat of frustration rising in his chest. "I won't let societal standards dictate my happiness. Kemi is my choice, and I will stand by her." The conversation grew heated, and Ada realized that this wasn't going to end well. He had hoped for understanding, but all he found was more resistance. Feeling defeated, he excused himself from the table, leaving his parents in stunned silence. Kemi could sense the turmoil within him when he returned home. They sat on the couch, the weight of the world pressing down on their shoulders. "I thought they might come around," Ada confessed, his voice heavy with disappointment. "They may need time," Kemi said softly, reaching for his hand. "But what matters is that we have each other. We will find our way through this." Ada looked into her eyes, feeling the strength of her words wash over him. "You're right. As long as we're together, we can face anything." As they settled into their routine, they found joy in the small moments, cooking together, long drives, and sharing dreams. They built a life filled with love and laughter, shielding each other from the negativity that often threatened to creep in. However, the pressure from Ada's family continued to loom over them, creating an undercurrent of tension in their relationship. One day, Kemi received an unexpected call from Ada's sister, who had been silent throughout their journey. "Hi, Kemi," she said, her tone hesitant. "I've been thinking a lot about you and Ada. I want to understand what you two have together." Kemi felt a surge of hope. "I'd love to talk. Ada is my heart, and I want to show you how much we mean to each other." They met at a cafe, and Kemi poured her heart out, sharing the beautiful moments they had created together. To her surprise, Ada's sister listened intently, her expression shifting from skepticism to curiosity. As they spoke, Kemi felt a bond forming between them. "I never knew Ada felt this strongly about anyone," his sister admitted. "Maybe I misjudged you." The conversation lifted a weight off Kemi's shoulders, and she found herself smiling as she spoke about Ada. "He's the most amazing man I've ever known. He makes me feel alive." As they wrapped up their conversation, Ada's sister leaned in. "I'll talk to my parents. Maybe they'll listen to me when I tell them how happy you make him." Kemi's heart swelled with gratitude. "Thank you. That would mean everything." As days turned into weeks, Kemi and Ada focused on their relationship, ignoring the noise around them. They dreamed about their future, planned trips, and envisioned a life where they could be free to love without fear. But just as hope began to flourish, Ada received another call from his parents. "We need to talk," his mother said, her voice serious. When he arrived at their home, the atmosphere was tense. "Ada, we've been thinking," his father began, "and we want you to reconsider your relationship with Kemi." "Why?" Ada felt the anger rising within him. "Why can't you just accept who I love?" His mother reached for his hand, desperation in her eyes. "Because we're worried about you. We think you're making a mistake." Ada's heart raced. "You don't get to decide what's best for me. I'm an adult, and I choose Kemi." "Son, we just want you to be happy," his father said, his voice softer now. "But we worry you'll face difficulties because of this relationship." Ada took a deep breath, grounding himself. "Kemi makes me happy. Isn't that what matters?" His parents exchanged looks, and for a moment, Ada felt a glimmer of hope. But then his mother shook her head, tears in her eyes. "Please, just think about it. We love you." As he left their house, the weight of their concerns pressed heavily on him. Kemi was waiting at home, and he needed to share his feelings with her. When he arrived, Kemi could see the conflict in his eyes. "What happened?" she asked, concern lacing her voice. "They're not accepting us," he confessed, feeling defeated. "They want me to reconsider." "I'm tired of fighting," he admitted, his voice breaking. "I just want to be with you without the fear of judgment." "Then let's focus on us," Kemi said, her determination shining through. "Let's build our own happiness, regardless of what others think." With her words echoing in his heart, Ada felt a renewed sense of strength. Together, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead, hand in hand, knowing that their love was worth fighting for. As the days turned into weeks, they continued to carve out their own path, taking each challenge as it came. They celebrated their victories, shared their fears, and found solace in each other's arms. And while the world around them may have been filled with doubt, within their hearts, they knew that their love was a force that could withstand anything.